Hi guys, SoloBase15 here, back with round 1 of the brand new exhibition. This GA, we're going for a full 4 weeks and 12 battles. So let's look at what I'm up against. As you can see, my opponent has 10 more G12s than me and has a solid mod game. While I might have the advantage in mods, let's look at the individual characters. It looks like I'm going to have the advantage for both Revans and their counterparts with Grandmaster Yoda and Bastila. And you're looking at Malik, and mine's going to be tougher to kill as well. My Traya is going faster, and then looking at Brood Alpha for the first time, and he's going to go first as well. So looking at Padme, it looks like my team has generally more health and speed, which is good because this team needs speed and health. Then switching over to the final two teams, his Bossk is in 290 speed, and I expect to see a Jango lead there, because if you haven't modded that fast, you're really going to get off the gate. So coming into the game, and we can see he does in fact have a Jango lead, and that's why I'm going to counter this team with Jedi training Rey, because my BB-8's over 300 speed as well, plus he gains 8% turn meter for each droid on the battlefield, which means it's going to be really hard to outrun a BB-8. And as you can see here, my first act was to ability block Bossk, prevent him from taunting, and that gives me free reign on the rest of the team. So I'm going to focus down Baba first, because I don't want that execute to come out. And he's going to be squishy, because the other thing with a Jango lead, yeah, you can get your Bossk to go fast, but you're losing a lot of the survivability that his leadership gains. You'll see throughout my series that I want to use Bossk on offense because he can maximize banners for you. But I'm also not a fan of the Jango lead in this circumstance because when they're on defense, they're just so easy to kill without all the added defensive bonuses that Bossk gives. So I kill Baba, and then I'm about to take out Jango here, and that's really their team. Now, the one problem with using JTR is Dengar is going to stealth fairly early, and R2's not going to be able to stealth your team. So even though L3 is going to be taunting, Scav Rey, who's quite squishy to begin with, is going to be wide open for attack because Jango and Baba are able to attack past the taunt. And that's going to hurt us at times. In fact, here you can see she's in yellow, but she has the thermal detonator, and I'm going to lose her, losing banners. And that's not what you want to do in this type of game mode, where banners is key. So if there's anything that you want to take away from this video, it's two things. One, Jango lead on defense is going to make you go faster, but you still can't outrun a JTR team. Two, it's that thermal detonators are good on defense, because as you can see, the only reason I lost Scav Rey is she had a thermal detonator on her. When fighting bounty hunters, Dengar is usually going to be your last kill, just because he stays stealthed the whole time. So there we have it, 56 banners, and not really a great start to this one. Now, the other team that we're going to see is First Order in this zone. So we're going to clear this zone to see what's hiding behind them. And a very easy First Order counter is going to be the short-handed Traya team. And at the same time, this is going to give me the quest to give me some additional points because I'm going to be winning with an undersized team. So let's take a look at what makes Traya so strong against this First Order team and why they're a great counter for them. First, as you could see at the beginning of the fight, KRU started off with his stun on Darth Nihilus. Now, that doesn't matter to us because Traya's Unique will let all of my Sith members shed off any debuffs they have when they start their turn. So that stun means nothing, essentially, to us. Second, Traya is going to gain health back anytime they hit a debuffed opponent. Now, Masked Kylo will debuff himself whenever he takes a turn because he gets a damage over time. That means if you ever need healing, you can always just hit Masked Kylo and get a little bit of healing for your team. Another advantage to using Traya against First Order is Isolate. And the Isolate ability really makes Traya strong against almost everyone. In this case, the engine to the First Order team is Masked Kylo doing his AoE, which feeds turn meter to the rest of the team. If you can work it out where you get your isolate on Masked Kylo, he can't feed the rest of the team turn meter, and they lose a big part of what make themselves so strong. So then you can just slowly pick off the members one by one as Masked Kylo doesn't use his powerful attack but continues to use his AoE, trying to feed the team turn meter. Now, one thing I did that's unusual in this fight is I saved the two biggest threats for last. And that's just because I was having trouble getting around the First Order Stormtrooper taunt, so I had to take him first. And then I had an Annihilate up with a full health and protection KRU taunting, and so I decided to take him out because get rid of the taunt and let's take out the rest of the team. Plus, as you can see with this Traya team, they're really not threatened by the rest of the First Order. So you can slowly let Darth Nihilus build up Annihilate again. Now I get 56 points even though all four members didn't finish with full protection. That win is going to open up the first back section. So I'm going to see what's back there so that I can plan my counters again. Because the one thing you want to do with every GA is to plan who you're going to attack with at the beginning. That way you know who you're going to use for every fight. In this case, as I'm looking in that back zone, I see a G13 General Grievous. There's only one team I'm going to attack that team with, and that's my Jedi Knight Revan team, because Grievous is going to hit hard, but Jolie and the revive mechanics are going to help keep the rest of the Jedi alive. You're going to see in this battle that my opponent is using a slow General Grievous, and he's doing that for the specific purpose that you have to attack the other droids, because Magna Guard is going to keep Grievous stealthed, all droids stealthed at the beginning of their turns, and if Grievous goes last, you have to attack the other droids first. So you see there, I take out the B2 because he's important to take out, but I give General Grievous a huge attack, which if you give him too many of those, he will wipe out your team. Now luckily he's come unstealthed, so I was able to knock his protection off and a little bit of health. He forces taunt on Droideka, who's got damage immunity, which is actually good for me, because I'm not going to be able to kill anyone until I can get the mark off on General Grievous. And so Grievous isn't going to get another return, and even though he's G13 and B1 is feeding him health and protection, I'm going to be able to take Grievous out around any taunt because of Jedi Knight Revan being able to mark him. There are two things that are going to kill you with this droid team. The first is General Grievous using his AoE after a droid dies, and it's going to be super powered. The second is B1 constantly attacking you with an AoE, slowly taking down your protection, preventing you from getting max banners. And that's what's going to happen here. But quite frankly, I'm just happy to get Grievous and the rest of his droids out of the picture and keep all 5 members alive while doing it. Now, Jedi Knight Revan has a mechanic where when you attack out of turn on the team, it restores protection to your individual. So what you can see is I'm spreading around assists to try and maximize my protection, and despite all the AoEs, I was able to finish with 58 banners, which means 3 of my units finished with full protection, which is great against the General Grievous team. The second team in this zone is a Separatist team that really isn't ideal. It's got the Newt lead, Dooku, and 3 bugs in it, and he's not using Brood Alpha, which, as we saw earlier, he does have, just he isn't maximized yet. So I'm going to be able to use First Order. My KRU is going to go first, and you can see I get the stun off on Dooku. That's going to prevent all of his counterattacks, and he is a really strong character now, so he's completely taken out of the game. Now, the one thing about Geonosians are they like assists, and so my first target is Geo Soldier to see if I can get him out, because he's really the only hard hitter other than Dooku. Unfortunately, Sun Fac picks up a taunt, and I'm stuck waiting for Masked Kylo to get off an AoE and finally take off Geo Soldier. In the same move that I take out Geo Soldier, see I created a problem for myself because Dooku counterattacks and stuns my masked Kylo, which is going to slow down my First Order team because he's not there to use his AoE and give my team turn meter. And the other problem is Sun Fac was taunting, so I was stuck attacking him. Luckily for me, the other three Separatists like to hide in stealth, and so I was able to attack anyone that I wanted. I was going to avoid the Dooku counters. Newt has a revive of himself, so that makes Spy the next target. The problem is Spy really isn't a threat, so luckily he stealths himself again, and Dooku comes out of stealth, letting me stun him for 2 turns and take out the only remaining threat that's left on this team. So with Dooku gone, it's really just a matter of cleaning up these last 2, which is actually more of a pain than it should be, because Spy is going to stay in stealth, and Newt is going to come back and revive after he's killed. So you're going to have to kill him twice, and Spy is in stealth. So it just takes longer than it really should. And with that, my team is going to have full turn meter, and I'm going to get the win. Unfortunately, as you can see, both Fox and First Order TIE Pilot did not finish with full health. That's one of the problems with First Order, is they just don't regenerate health all that well, even though they do regenerate protection under certain circumstances. So now the bottom is done, and let's move to the top, where obviously Darth Revan's going to be the biggest threat. As we talked about earlier, my Revan's going to get to go first. So I open up with Force Storm for 2 reasons. One, it's going to make my team stronger because they're going to gain extra stacks. But 2, I'm going to be able to apply shock onto both of their tanks and prevent them from taunting after Malak cleanses the taunt on Sith Trooper. That lets me take out HK, which is their biggest threat at the moment. Next, I'm going to focus on Fallen Bastila, because I want to start applying debuffs if I can. Unfortunately, Darth Revan taunts, so I'm going to have to take him out first with my HK, leaving Bastila open, and then it's just a matter of 2 tanks. And it's 4 on 2, but Malak is strong enough that doesn't always give you the full advantage. Luckily here, I was able to get the stun with my Malak, and then it's just down to Sith Trooper, and I'm going to be able to clear him without any real problem. And with that battle, I'm only going to get 54 banners because I lost my Sith Trooper. So I keep Darth Revan for offense because he's going to let me clear any team on the board. He really is a good defensive team as well, but only if you know that your opponent isn't going. So here, my opponent all but wasted his Darth Revan because I was able to take it out easily since I had the speed advantage. Now that leads to the second team that's in the zone, which is a Carth team. Quite frankly, they're not a great defensive team. Most people have them figured out by now. I'm going to use my Palpatine team because I can prevent Zalbar from ever taunting thanks to Thrawn. I can keep most of them stunned, and it's really just a matter of whittling them down and taking them out. I usually end up taking out Carth first, even though he's the 3rd biggest threat on this team. 4th if you count Zalbar taunting with his retribution. The problem is Mission likes to stealth herself, so you can't always take her out, so it's easier to just take the low-hanging fruit. And then I'm going to focus on Canderous because him attacking 3 times is never a good thing, especially since he's applying dots that's going to hurt my team. But as you can see, I'm getting out of this one pretty much unscathed other than my Shore Trooper, as almost everybody has full protection. My Death Trooper doesn't, but I'm going to be able to use Thrawn to restore his protection towards the end of the fight. And since I had Zalbar stunned, and I had shock on him so he couldn't gain taunt, I fractured Mission so I could take her out without taking any more damage. Now I have both members stunned, and I don't have to worry about losing any more protection or health from attacks. This Carth team is strong if you don't have the right counter to it, but the thing is, almost everybody expects to see it on defense now, and everybody has it figured out. So Carth is not your best option on defense, and you really should work on moving away from him. You'll see later in the video I have him on defense, but that's probably only until next week when I get a new defense team in there to replace him. Because as you can see, I got 59 banners from him. Everyone else can do that against you as well. That leaves our final zone. We hadn't seen Night Sisters, so you knew that they were hiding in the back, and you hadn't seen Nest yet, so you knew who was there. It was fairly well telegraphed after taking out the bottom zones. So I kept the perfect teams to counter that. Padme is going to go up against Night Sisters, and she's an excellent counter because her protection up that she gives with her first turn will prevent Talzin from applying Plague on the team. Also, she's going to help the team hit so strong that it doesn't matter when zombie is taunting, because you're going to be able to get around the zombie taunt with Ahsoka's basic, and then you're going to kill the other Night Sisters quite easily. As with every Night Sister battle, you want to take out Daka first, and that's so that she can't revive the rest of her team. The second you take away the revive mechanic, it really hurts this Night Sister team, and you're able to pick them off one by one. Now, the other nice thing about using Padme here is you can see what I just did with 3PO, is apply Confuse on Zombie so she won't be able to gain Taunt on her next turn, which lets you continue to attack the team. One thing to know about using Padme against Night Sisters is, as you can see, it's a very easy win, but Asajj actually becomes the biggest threat in the team. And that's because she's going to clear the protection up, which is going to prevent them from turning into stacks of courage, which is going to take away a lot of offense on your team. So if you can, make sure to take out Asajj twice to prevent those cleanses. Next up, you want to take out Spirit, because she's going to constantly hide behind Foresight and just stun your team and do massive damage. So if you can, the kill order when using Padme is Daka, Asajj, Spirit, Talzin, Zombie. With the Night Sisters gone, that leaves one last team, and that's going to be the Kira Scoundrels with Nest. Now, my last attack team is Bounty Hunters. I do that because I can get around the L3 taunt quite easily with my Bounty Hunters, thanks to Jango and Baba. And I'm going to be able to clear the taunt with CAD, so L3 really isn't going to make much of a difference due to her taunting against my... Normally, you would take out Vandor Chewie first, because when he gets prepared, he's going to be able to revive his teammates. But as you can see, I went after Young Han here. And that's for two reasons. First, Young Han would complete the contract for the Bounty Hunters, and I want them to get their contract quickly. Second, Young Han in his special is going to be able to add protection back to his teammates. And this team is already gaining a ton of protection thanks to the Kira lead. So I don't want them to gain any more protection than they already are. So what I did was take out Young Han. Next was Kira, because I don't want her dispelling the Bossk taunt. I don't want her calling an assist, which is going to restore protection. So she's next. Now, in the meantime, you could see that Vandor was down all of his protection, and yet it's been able to come back as he's been attacking thanks to that Kira lead. So he's the next target here. And I will have to say, you're going to see the weakness of Bounty Hunters against this team is they're going to struggle to make quick kills. So you're going to finish with 60 banners against this team, which is great, but you're really going to struggle to bring down all the protection because CAD is really the only dispel. Technically, Baba has the dispel on his execute, but you don't want to be using execute just to dispel L3's taunt because it's not going to do any real damage against her. So with just L3 and Nest left, I'm going to attack L3 and try and get her out of the way, saving Nest for last. And I will say this about L3, she's a fantastic tank, and I think she belongs with a JTR attack team because she really adds both speed and survivability to that team. But if you're not going to use her with JTR, this is the team to use her for. Because as you can see, it's going to take me over a minute to kill L3 thanks to all her counters, because every counter is going to restore her protection, then she's going to taunt, You're going to have Cad dispel the taunt, and it's just going to be hard to get around. Throughout this battle, I've never been in danger. I've never worried about losing one of my team members. I've never thought I was going to lose any banners. Just fighting this Kira Nest team is just annoying. And that's all it is. It's a long, drawn-out fight that when you use bounty hunters, you do have to worry about a potential timeout issue because it just takes forever. And now, since they're using a slow nest, I'm stuck going through just a ton of motions until I can try and line up a major attack with Nest taking a turn and having no bonus protection. Of course, the problem in all of this is that Nest is gaining her protection back thanks to the Kira lead, so when she loses her bonus protection, she's going to be down to full protection. You really have to hope that you can either get a stun with Dengar or Bossk and try and prevent all of these. We started this one-on-one with Nest with 2 minutes and 22 seconds to go. As you can see here, it's been over a full minute and I'm still attacking. And of course, they also have a super tenacious Nest, so trying to stun her is not going according to plan. So it's really, just like I said earlier, waiting her out. And a lot of people have trouble with this, and I've timed out against Nest once or twice in the past as well. But luckily in this fight, it's going to come close, but I am going to be able to bring her down before time expires. One thing to note is her bonus protection is based on the max health she has, which is why Jedi Knight Revan is actually the best to fight her with. But Jedi Knight Revan had to be used for droids and is going to be held solely for droids on my part from now on. So that's why I was left attacking with bounty hunters. And at the end of the day, I get my 58 banners and I clear out the last territory, leaving me enough points to get the win because my opponent had attacked before me and, as you could see, was not able to take out Mother Talzin. So one thing I was excited about this GA is I got to add in my Brood Alpha Geo team, and as you can see here, they got a kill. It's likely because this is the first time my opponent's fighting them, but it's always fun to get a kill. Next, you can see I have 2 G13 Night Sisters that got added, and I was able to get a ton of kills with them and prevent them from clearing that territory. And on top of the Night Sisters, General Grievous was able to get 5 kills as well, helping to lead me to the win. So there you have it. Thank you for joining me for this round, and I'll see you again after the next round.